In Previz, how can we configure our scene which you uploaded from Blender or Cinema 4D? Well, first off, on your main page, you should see a project thumbnail, and here I have project 10, which I'll select. Now first, you should gain access to the viewer. This is a 3D environment, and you can interact with your scene directly using either your trackpad or mouse. Now by holding down the left click on your mouse and dragging, you'll orbit the selected object. You can also zoom in and out by using the mouse wheel, scrolling like so, or click in and drag the mouse to get a much finer zoom adjustment. To dolly the internal camera, hold down the right click on the mouse and drag like so. But for a full list of navigation controls, please visit the online user guide. Now over to the right you have Scene Config. Here we have a whole list of properties which I'll broadly outline. And first off, you can add new scenes already configured in Blender or Cinema 4D to be renamed below. Now one project can host multiple tracks, something we'll explore in more detail later. You also have default maps over to the right. Now under the default maps panel, we configure how content, whether those are still images or video clips, are then being applied across to a single screen or multiple screens. And that's done via the mappings column using the UV maps we configured beforehand in either Blender or Cinema 4D, including the one called feed_all. Also, you can configure the mapping's opacity from either fully opaque to fully transparent. Now one column to the right we have alpha maps. I'll just briefly mention you can bring in alpha channel textures, and these will cut away sections of screen if you're working with more abstract geometry laid out in your scene. We also have pixel maps. These are thumbnail textures of which we have a default library which allow us to simulate the look and feel of LED. Now over to the right, bookmarks. Here we can add and remove camera presets. This allows us to jump, for example, from house right to house left, especially useful in front of your client when navigating the scene. And lastly, under settings, you can fine-tune the background color and the camera itself, including field of view and the clipping plane. So that's a very broad overview of scene configuration, and in the next video we'll look at how to manage content in more detail. But here's just a glimpse of a video clip I brought in earlier.